Howdy everyone, welcome to episode 5 of the Epoch Challenge. Our world has been updated to beta Minecraft, the final development version before release. Similar to episode 4, a bunch of missions have been completed, and there's a lot to catch you up on. We are currently in beta 1.5, getting ready for a special update to 1.6. But before we dive into the new beta content, I forgot something back in the alpha epoch. Pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns. In the Halloween update, pumpkins were added to the game, but were a rare spawn, so a quick adventure was required before we updated to beta. The RNG gods were smiling down to us that day, and we found a few pumpkins in the first chunks that we checked. And with the adventure over, we went back and crafted a few jack-o'-lanterns with the pumpkins, and finished our alpha block collection. With that completed, onto the beta epoch. From 1.0 to 1.1 versions, this era starts off with a bunch of bug fixes, and the only new content was chicken eggs can now be thrown to spawn baby chickens. Oh, I lied. Full-grown chickens. Anyway, with every new epoch, a new museum has to be built. I went for a more warehouse style for this building. Unlike previous museums, this one has been left unfinished. The second floor up there is sort of the start of that. I did this so the building can grow larger as we progress through the releases in beta. Let's start off with this first room. This is where the first batch of new items and blocks will be stored. We might redesign this area to store more blocks, since we are already running out of room in this chest. With beta 1.2, a lot of content was added. Let's start off with the 16 colors of wool added. Currently difficult to collect in large quantities, this adds a lot of vibrant colors to the game. To make the new wool varieties, 16 new dyes were also included. Bones were added to skeleton drops, so bone meal can be crafted for white dye. Squids were added to the game so that they can drop ink, black dye. These combine into gray and light gray dyes. A new rare gem ore was also added, lapis lazuli, which can also craft into a decorative block and also be used for blue dye. Roses are the source of red dye, dandelions for yellow dye, and if you smelt cactus, green dye. All of these can be used to create light blue, lime, magenta, orange, pink, and purple, and those counting will find that that is only 15 colors. The last color has a bit of a story. While technically added in the game in 1.2, cocoa beans would be unattainable until beta 1.4. These will be used as brown dye, and eventually in 1.4 be added to the dungeon chest loot table and be obtainable in the game. Next we have the new tree types, spruce and birch. Currently we only have the logs. The different colored wood planks won't be added for some time. These trees initially could only be collected from new terrain, but in beta 1.5, birch and spruce saplings were added, allowing an unlimited amount of the new wood to be farmed. Sugarcane was given more uses. Previously only used for paper and book crafting, it is also the source of sugar now. Used by combining with egg, milk, and wheat to craft a special item, the cake, the only placeable food item I can think of in Minecraft. Moving on to arguably the most useful item added in 1.2, charcoal. By smelting logs, a replacement for coal is crafted. We can finally craft unlimited torches and smelt as much glass and stone as wanted. Next, a favorite block of mine was added, sandstone. Currently crafting this block with sand is sort of expensive. In the future we can collect some from a desert biome. Sandstone will spawn between the sand and stone layers. 2 new redstone blocks were added, the dispenser and note block. Initially, dispensers will spit out most items when activated, but they can shoot arrows and throw eggs. Note blocks can also be set to many different sounds, and this birthed a whole community dedicated to creating music with these note blocks, something I hope to do in this world one day. I don't have the exact skill to make a brand new one, but I can sure copy somebody's build. With the 1.2 content all collected, beta 1.3 has a critical new feature, beds. Finally, the night can be skipped and a respawn point can be set. It has been a struggle to play during nighttime. I would often end up underground mining while the sun was down. Previously, adventuring was very risky. A pack of skeletons could destroy me if I wasn't careful. Now exploring new terrain should be much safer. 1.3 adds new half slabs and changes some crafting recipes. Pressure plates require 2 instead of 3 items. Stone slabs are now crafted from stone instead of cobblestone. And 3 new slab types are added: cobblestone, wood plank, and sandstone. Since half slabs prevent mob spawning, these new options are a welcome addition for building. Another important redstone item was added: the repeater. The repeater has the ability to delay signals and extend redstone signals past their original length limit. We will dive deeper into redstone in future updates. Building automatic resource gathering farms will be a staple of our main base. Next, we have Beta 1.4, a favorite for many. The first tameable animal was introduced: the wolf. Feeding bones to a wolf will turn the mob into a dog. This little guy is named 407103. Wolves were a very rare spawn in 1.4, and it took a bit of searching to find this little guy. Cocoa beans, as mentioned previously, were obtainable in 1.4. They also can be crafted with wheat to make the first stackable food: cookies. I had a tough time collecting enough cocoa beans for this museum. Each cocoa bean needs to be collected from a dungeon loot chest, a time-consuming roll of the dice with each dungeon chest checked. If done correctly, a quick snipe of a chest loot was all I needed to do. Done poorly, and things can go south quickly, and a corpse run will be required. After a few of those, I had the brilliant idea to bring a lava bucket. Hoping to light up the dungeon and remove any mobs that had spawned, I somehow fumbled the whole idea and ended up dying next to said lava and destroying all of my precious cocoa beans. Big oof. After a small break, I was able to find what was left of those items, and find enough cocoa beans to make the final items we needed for the museum: a few wool blocks and cookies. With that, we are caught up to the current world version, Beta 1.5. This update adds 2 new minecart rail types: the powered rail, used for boosting minecarts forward, and the detector rail, which will create a redstone output when a minecart is detected on the rail. With these items, we can finally make usable minecart tracks, or even roller coasters, like this one. And the final new content to mention is a common feature in most games: achievements. Accessible in the menu system, this is the first time Minecraft was given any sort of goal, and was used as a guide for new players. All previous versions required research outside the game, or just guessing on how to mine and craft items in the game. We have completed all but 2 of these achievements: on a rail and when pigs fly. These aren't too difficult, but require a decent time investment. With all the new content mentioned, let's get back to showing off what's been completed in the beta museum. Some sneak peeks might have been seen during all of that talking. There's a couple hallways that go down this way to the second room. There's a garden in the middle that hasn't quite been filled in. We have the wool blocks on the ceiling and some of the new blocks on the side and in the middle of the room. And of course, Doggo 40713. Next, we have the hallway that has an unfinished staircase going to the TBD second floor. And finally, the third room that has our roller coaster. This is technically rideable, but you might die in it. It's not really player safe right now. Anyway, that's the beta museum as it currently stands. A lot of new things will be added in our next update to 1.6. A very unique bug occurred that I'm hoping to replicate. But before we get to that, let's get to something mentioned last episode: building a boat. I ended up building it, obviously. First, I extended the deck out, and instead of having a lower platform area, I made a big old boat dock. You can see here we sort of got a gangway in order to get on here. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but I'm going to use it. Got a nice half slab here area, so it can be a little bit moody and dark at night but no mobs will spawn. Got some goofy sails. I sort of like them. They're a little weird. We also have the captain's quarters. Pretty cramped in here, but got all the amenities, even some bookcases. One of my favorite parts of this whole area is the cargo area. Got some nice storage area, some like barracks area to sleep. I was even able to fit a little engine room back here with some bookcases to learn about and some extra storage. There's not many things you can do for, features of a boat. So this is, an anchor. We got an engine, iron blocks and rails. It's a cute little area. This is the first time I tried building a boat in this style. There's room for improvement, but without upside down stairs, the option for more detail are a little bit limited. Altogether, I think it makes a pretty neat build. So what are we doing for the rest of the episode? We could try to complete the last achievements available. There is When Pigs Fly and On a Rail. Well, it's about time for me to live stream on twitch.tv. We'll see what I decide and I'll get back to you. Alright, we were able to accomplish the When Pigs Fly achievement. It was fairly easy. My main concern was if the pig needed to survive the fall. They did not.
Nice.
Next was the On the Rail achievement. Spent most of my iron and placed over 500 blocks of rail. This goes from spawn all the way to the mob farm. I'll need to collect more iron before we finish this goal. With nothing left to collect in 1.5, and the last major thing to do requiring lots more time, I decided to upgrade to 1.6. The first version to visit this time is Test Build 3, a special update where Notch forgot to remove the debug chests. This gives us a great display feature for the second floor of the museum. I had to delete some level data for the debug chest to spawn, and definitely probably maybe change the world seed for our save. This changes how the biomes generate in the world, and our brand new dock might need an icebreaker to be usable. Back to the new display. Even though 1.6 and the next update 1.7 are mainly bug fixes, these debug chests had some very rare blocks. Some of the best are on display currently. Let's go through these chests and check out the loot. This first one has all the armor and tools, golden apple and chainmail being the best items. Next is the plants and food chest. Reeds are impossible to obtain outside of this update. Grass and leaf blocks can't be collected in item form until Silk Touch is introduced. Third one is the ore chest. Coal, diamond, lapis, and redstone ore are also unobtainable until later. The redstone dust item is another debug special. This is probably the best chest in my opinion. Many exclusive and special blocks. The double slab item, farmland, crops, half door, and bed. The new items in 1.6 that shouldn't be collected yet. A dead bush and grass items. Stackable cake, ice, sponges, and these last few are my favorite and allow special building options in the future. The nether portal can be used to make super efficient farms. Bedrock is the ultimate unbreakable block, usable for many things. I'm going to have to be careful with these as I don't want to be accidentally place them and be unable to remove them. With the fire item, we can technically craft chainmail armor now. If we want to craft a few sets of that, we can. And finally, stackable lava and water. The water is placeable in the nether for many updates. Something that feels illegal in Minecraft. We will 100% use this in the future builds. Now the last two chests are less interesting. We have the locked chests from 1.4, wooden half doors, and some strange signs that can't be written on. Everything else has been obtainable before. And the last chest has redstone and some odds and ends. The highlights are the unlit redstone torch the snow layers, and the odd repeater items. With the debug items all organized and some on display on the second floor, I kept on building and started on the third floor. We have a nice outdoor stairway with some grass. I'll add some flowers later. And here is probably the last display area for our beta museum, the third floor. Of course, I ran out of wool, so I have another grind to do between episodes. The plan is for this place to store every block available in beta Epoch. It's a small area, so we might need to have a tall roof, but we'll see how it goes. On a side note, you might have noticed we are currently in beta 1.6.6. This is the first update played that doesn't display the exact release number in the top right corner. This is the most stable of 1.6, so I quickly updated after the test build. There are a few things needed to be completed before we finish the beta Epoch. Some more infrastructure between spawn and the new terrain. Maybe an area to reliably redo some of these achievements, since they will reset many times throughout this Let's Play series. I don't know. I'll decide later. With that, we will conclude another episode of the Epoch Challenge. We will dive back into Minecraft history next time, so be sure to subscribe and catch the next episode. And hit the like button if you enjoyed this content. Thanks for watching. Peace. P.S. I think that's a brown sheep.